of the most vital parts of Lahaina town that was lost, the historic boat harbor that served the community for centuries. Casey Land is live just off West Maui talking to harbor users about the rebuilding process. Casey?
Yeah, good morning, Gracie. We just had that interview with the Coast Guard, and so we're going to talk a little bit about that. I want to just introduce some of the folks that we have here. Dan Shaffer, who owns Kaanapali Ocean Adventures. We're out in Kaanapali. This is where he normally operates out of. They came back from Lahaina Harbor. We'll talk to Dan in a minute, but I want to mahalo you for taking us out. Again, he lost his home, lost several boats as well. I also want to talk to Keao, who owns Maalaea Adventures. You lost your vessel as well. I want to get right to that interview with the Coast Guard that we watched here on the boat. Is that sort of the standard messaging that you folks are getting when we're trying to hold her to a timeline? We're trying to hold the Coast Guard to a timeline of when this work is going to start. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's a lot going on. We know there's a million things going on right now, but for us as operators that lost boats and lost our homes, we need to figure out what's our timeline, when can we go back to work. And it's not overnight you can get a boat out here. We have to go to the mainland and source a new boat, and even a temporary boat at that.
And then beyond that, removing those vessels, then the issue of kind of rebuilding the harbor is obviously going to fall to the state. And I want to also talk to Peter Colombo, who owns Hawaii Ocean Rafting. Tell me just a little bit about your situation and again, your reaction to that interview with the Coast Guard that we just watched.
Yeah, just as Keao had mentioned, it's just there's a lot of things going on here, but it would be helpful to give us some idea, some kind of timeline on what we can expect so that we can make plans accordingly.
As far as you're concerned, you have those smaller raft. We've kind of shown different businesses, different size of vessels again. For somebody that has a smaller operation, smaller business, is it feasible to operate out of somewhere else? But what's holding you up right now from doing that?
Yes, it is feasible. It's just a matter of getting permission, more or less, to operate from a different location in a temporary basis. It would just be something that would just temporary until Lahaina Harbor was operable again, but it would be a matter of us saving our business or not.
And again, I want to bring this up. You know, the DLNR is working to communicate as best they can. I think that in a recent meeting they had suggested, you know, possibly you folks sharing a permit or a slip with somebody. Does that seem like something that could ever work or be feasible in the future?
It's a time where we got to think outside of the box and come up with creative ideas. That idea particularly seems to be complicated because it would be asking another fellow operator or competitor to cut their business in half so that we're able to operate. It would also be putting their employees and that part of the community in a need of not having enough to get by, so I don't really see that as a feasible option.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, Peter Colombo, again with the Hawaii Ocean Rafting. I want to go back over to Dan Shaffer. Dan, if you can come down here again with Kaanapali Ocean Adventures. Thank you again for taking us out. I want to ask you what you want the people of Hawaii and the people of the United States that come here and support your businesses to know about this recovery process and where you are now.
Well, Maalaea and Kaanapali are still in operation. Lahaina Harbor and Maalaea Wharf, they definitely need to be in operation ASAP.
Right now, if you need fuel, where do you have to go?
I would have to jug it out or drive 40 miles to Maalaea Harbor.
I believe that one of the things that you are hoping for is the Maalaea Wharf to open, the boat ramp there, or the fuel dock, the fuel and loading dock at Lahaina Harbor. Those are still, in your mind, possibly operational. Is there a reason that those couldn't be opened sooner rather than later?
Maalaea Wharf should be open today. I mean, there's no reason why it shouldn't be. Nothing happened to the boat ramp. It's in perfect shape. They've cleared the road. We just saw cars driving up and down that road. The Lahaina fuel dock did not explode. The hoses might need replacement, but they need power.
One last question before we go, Dan, is the future of Lahaina Harbor. We know it was a very crowded, overused facility. How important is it that you folks have a conversation in the rebuilding of that, a really important historic harbor?
Seems like we don't have a say in anything. We were hoping we will in the future, but Lahaina, you know, it's a historical town. They never wanted to expand or change anything because they didn't want to ruin the history. Well, the history's pretty much burned up. It's time to expand the harbor. If they ever had any thoughts on doing it, now would be the good time to do it. But first, they have to clear out the mess that's in there right now.
Very good. Dan Shaffer with us again from Kaanapali Ocean Adventures. Thank you again for taking us out. That was important to get out there. And we thank Peter as well as Keao. We are going to continue this discussion. Of course, it's going to be a very long process. We're here for the long haul as they rebuild not only the harbor, but Lahaina town. A lot of discussions and difficult ones are still ahead in the future. Grace, send things back to you for now.
Yeah, but good to hear their perspectives. So thanks for sharing that with us, Casey.
Yeah.
All right, 8:08.